by spending 0.1 or 0.01% of our time just once in 5 years, then we have absolutely no right to comment on anybody. So I want the youth of this state, this city, to come and vote in large numbers, and that gives them the right to expect better governance.
So before I let you go, you've been one of the biggest change makers for Karnataka. You've quite literally put us out there globally. So I need to ask you, what are some of the issues that, you feel need to be worked on as far as the state is concerned?
No, I think at the end of the day, a nation is as good as its per capita GDP. A corporation is as good as its per capita revenue productivity. Therefore, when we vote, our desire is that the per capita GDP of this country and this state will grow rapidly, and whatever taxes are collected are used efficiently to make the life of every citizen of this state better and better. And each class of citizens, urban, rural, educated, not so educated, all of them, they have certain expectations, and they will have to be listened to and fulfilled. Today is not the day for discussion of those issues. Today is the day for ourselves to discharge our responsibility fully, and that gives us right tomorrow to ask, debate and discuss those issues.
So do you feel somewhere that the focus has shifted, sir, from developmental issues, from infrastructure to more emotional issues this election? We're seeing a lot of issues being raked up by the main contenders.
I have been out of country, so therefore I am not in touch with those issues. Therefore I am not the right person to comment. But as I said earlier, the most important issue is, can we make Karnataka per capita GDP higher and higher? Can we reduce the Gini coefficient? Can we make the per capita GDP of India better and better? Can we reduce the Gini coefficient? Can we address the basic needs of the poorest of the poor child in a remote rural part of Karnataka? I think those are the issues.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, of course, there you had it. That was Mr. Narayan Murthy there, going on to say that the focus, of course, should remain on development and on furthering the growth of Karnataka. How much of this, of course, will really play out now? Well, that's something that we'll be bringing to you through today, and also on May 13th. In Bengaluru, with video journalist Sunil, this is Neha Hebale for Times Now.
Well, the live reaction that is coming in from Mr. Narayan Murthy, we just heard it from Sudha Murthy as well, because very important point there, Madhav, that Mr. Murthy has made, saying that Karnataka has one of the highest per capita incomes in India, but nearly 36% of the state's GDP just comes from one district, which is Bengaluru urban, and more needs to be done for the overall vikas of the state.
Well, absolutely, and I think Mr. Narayan Murthy and several, have expressed this view that the important point that we were making earlier, that you have to take out a few minutes to come out and vote, and only then do you have the right to criticize the system, criticize the government, because if you don't participate in the democracy, if you're not going to voice your concerns through your vote, then certainly there is no point in actually coming out and cribbing. And that's something that we see over here, particularly in urbanized Bengaluru, where there is huge voter apathy. It's a very serious issue, and particularly, of course, participation is something that the Election Commission also has been trying to increase, particularly in the city of Bengaluru. But yes, the important points that he was making were of economic development. Of course, Mr. Narayan Murthy has made this point several times in the past, that growing the GDP, economic development, not just at the level of the city, but also for those who are in far-flung rural areas, all of that is the priority and should be the priority of those who are casting the vote. Of course, he's completely entitled to his perspective. There will be others who would have different perspectives, but yes, development, growth, economic activity, these are some things that people certainly hope that governments will do the best to push forward. And for Karnataka, which several parties have been talking about in this entire election, is the state which has the maximum FDI in the last years. And that's been a very, very significant aspect, because with that foreign investment, all of that ends up translating into newer jobs, newer opportunities, and further economic growth. So will the Karnataka economy be fired up is certainly a question that will be on several voters' minds, and those concerns being expressed there by Mr. Narayan Murthy.
All right, so very important message that is coming in from Mr. Murthy as well, because you do not have the right to criticize if you do not come out today and exercise your franchise.